West. We're going to go right now to Sheila Dharmarajan. She's been working here on Sheila with plans to spend on construction, education, and healthcare. A little bit of a shift in what we're seeing in China. Is that right?
No, absolutely. A fiscal shift in focus for China spending. What HSBC is saying that in 2010, infrastructure spending has been a big part of the story, will actually be below 40%. Now, Deirdre, this is compared to last year where it was over 70%. So a big shift there. And the two sectors where they think a lot of money will be flowing into is education. China is historically underspent on education compared to several other regions. And also in healthcare. There's been a lot of talk about public reform in healthcare in China. In fact, last week, the Chinese State Council, they actually published their guide on public hospital reform.
So if an investor is interested, wants to get involved, what's the easiest way?
So looking at those two sectors, healthcare, let's start off with that. Susquehanna, they say that laboratory devices and medical equipment are two areas which they think will get a boost. So a company to keep in mind is Mindray. They're actually traded on the NYSE. They do a variety of medical devices. Also, China Medical Tech, traded on the NASDAQ. They do cancer treatment devices. Now, education is a slightly more difficult play because if China does spend more money in education, likely to go to the state-owned schools. But what analysts I spoke to said was that a lot of the money, since it will be going to state-owned schools, will actually have a halo effect on the private sector education companies as well. So a couple to keep in mind, there's ChinaCast. They're traded on the NYSE. And one analyst called it the equivalent of the University of Phoenix that we see here. So a lot of professional trading emphasis in ChinaCast. And also China Distance. They're part of the Russell 2000. And they do a lot of online test prep. So a couple of companies to keep in mind.
All right, Sheila, thanks very much. Sheila Dharmarajan there for us on the changing landscape in China.